Hey folks, I'm Dave. Thank you for stopping by. Hope everybody's doing well today. So we're going to make a little coffee bar, just something to hold cups and sugar and whatever else you want to put in there. And here's what it looks like. So we're going to start by grabbing a square, just drag out a rectangle and drop it. And this will be the base. Click your selector tool. And we're going to make this a width of 305 millimeters and a height of 153, and that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 by 12 inches. So you want to select it, go over to the shape properties tab, and just radius the corners off. 2 should be fine. Just keep them from being sharp because this will kind of stick out on the bottom a little bit. And then let's now if you don't have that shape properties tab, you can go up to window, down to shape properties, and make sure it's selected. So select your rectangle, and then we want to go over to the offset tool, and we're going to offset this inward, bevel, and 2. And that's going to allow us to set up a tool so we can line up our slots. So remember, you can use your mouse wheel to move in and out, and you can hold it down and move your entire canvas around. I do that a lot so I can try to keep the work out from behind my face. So you want to scroll in, and you want to select that inner offset, and then go down to the bottom and turn that into a tool. Now don't group these together. And then we can grab a square, just drag out a rectangle and drop it, turn it into a cut, and we're going to make this our we're going to set up our slots. So we're using 5mm Luan plywood, and to adjust for kerf a little bit, we'll make this height 4.8. And then the length, we just make that 50. That should work fine. Then you want to select it, Control D to duplicate, and just pull one out of the way. It's always a good idea to when you make little things, just to hold one aside, just so you don't have to do it again. And I usually forget. If you look back at my other videos, I'll forget and have to go back and do it anyway. Okay, so we're just going to grab the edge. We're going to grab the edge of this. And I believe with version 1.6 of Lightburn, if you hold Alt, it makes the snap a little stickier. So it'll snap from further away, which is a good thing. We're not measuring here. We just want 2 tabs in the front and the back, and we're going to put 1 on each side and 1 in the center for a divider. So with that in place, Control D and pull it out. And then you can get back in, hold Alt, if I can grab the edge of it, and then snap that to the tool. And then we want to select both of these and group them together. You can use group up top, or you can right click and you'll find group in this set of tools here. But with it selected, then you want to push Shift and select your base, and then go to the vertical alignment tools and click center, and it'll move those over where you need them. Then we can select them, Control D again, use the down arrow to pull that out and take it to the bottom. And once it gets to the bottom, chances are you'll have to snap it back in place anyway. Yeah, it'd be too good to be true for it just to snap where it's supposed to. But you can hold Alt and just pull it right back up where it needs to be. All right, so now we'll get one of these. Control D, pull it out. And we're going to use the comma key to rotate counterclockwise. And we'll pull that up. And then you can pull it in and then center, or you can hold the Alt key and it'll give you a center. And as long as that line stays there, you're good to go. Control D to pull out another one, because we need one for the center and then we need one for this end. So we can, we'll go ahead and take this to the end. But you can use those arrow keys to move items around. I'll try to keep this end close enough. But get on the edge, hold Alt. When you can get on the edge, and then just snap it right to the tool. And I did not make it all the way. I make a lot of mistakes, folks, but y'all hang with me. We will get this done. And you can wiggle this around to make sure it gets to the center. Like that. That line popping up. Dang, right there. And if it gets too irritating, just put it where you think you want it, and then hold Shift, select, go to horizontal alignment, and click center, and it'll move it to where it needs to be. Okay, so now we need one for the center. So Control D, we'll move it back out, and to save us some time, we'll go ahead and use Shift, select, and hit the bullseye, and put it right where it needs to be. Save ourselves some headaches. Okay, so now we want to, we'll go ahead and lay out the back piece first. And to get the width of the back piece, let me get in closer. It's this back line, this tool line is what we want. And then our end pieces will sit inside. And we're not worried about it being real tight because we're not purposely putting tabs in the front or the back, because we didn't want them to show. That's why they're on the bottom. And then the front will look smooth when we finish this off. So to get that length, you can click your ruler and you'll get this pop-up. And this line, you just scroll your mouse over the area that you want to know, and it'll give you the distance, which is 300.9 millimeters. So that is the width we need. So we can grab a square, just drag out a rectangle and drop it. Click your selector tool, go to width, and 300.9. And that's what we got. And to check it, we can select it and just bring it down and see if that is right, and if it is. Okay, so now for the height, yeah, I guess it just magically went to 90, but 90 is what we need because that's about 3.5 inches. So now what we're going to do is line this up with the Alt key, and then we're going to set those tabs where they need to be. And make sure you line up with that inner piece. You can see those lines there. And then release, and then you can select these. So don't group any of this together at this point. And then you can Control D, use the up arrow, and then you can pull those out. And then you'll have to grab them and get on the edge and snap it to the edge, but that's okay. The main thing is you want to be lined up with these slots here. And I believe we are. So you can just select everything, and then you can pull it back down and make sure that it's lined up, and they are. And then you can select them, select those two, and just pull them up inside a little bit. And that way you can be sure that they're going to weld, because sometimes you'll weld if it's not snapped good. You'll weld, but it'll leave a crack, and you don't want that to happen. All right, so we're going to select all of this together. We're going to go to the modifier tools and click weld. And there we go. So that will be the back. Let me move this tab out of the way. The front will be a little different, quite a bit different, because we're going to write coffee bar on it, but we got to prep that first. So we're going to duplicate this, and we're going to pull it out, maybe. I might have missed my chance. I click too fast sometime. Okay, so that's our back. But we want to make room to write coffee bar in it with some with a font that's free, and I'll leave a link for that font. It's Arco Typography. So we're going to grab a square, and we're just going to draw out a rectangle and drop it, and then we're just going to cut this out of it. And we're not really measuring, but we want about 10 millimeters left around it. So with it selected, you can shift and select that outside, and then you can click Align Center, and then you can get your ruler, and I just want to see how long. Now, if it's an established line, and you can touch it and it'll give you the distance. If it's not, like this area right here, you can left click and drag a line out, and that tells us it's 10.45 millimeters, which is fine. And on the bottom, it's a little more on the bottom, but that's probably okay too. That is about 20, but you could click OK, click that, and then hit your down arrow and bump it down a little bit. But then we're going to select everything. We're going to go up to Tools, down to the Boolean Assistant, and then you can subtract this out. You have other options here when you do it, but we don't want them, but at least you know they exist. So click Subtract A from B, click OK, and now we have what we need to work with that. But we can go ahead and do our end pieces and this center piece. Now, to do that, when you have to keep moving stuff out of the way when you keep extra stuff, but that's a small price to pay to make sure you have it when you need it. So we have our slot that is 4.8, but we know that our wood we're using is 5 millimeter. We want the centerpiece, these centerpieces, to set inside, because when you're looking at it from the front, you don't want to see the edge of the wood. So like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit loose, because this tab's going to hold it into place. But to get that distance, we're going to grab our ruler, and we're going to go to this tool. So that's the length you would need if you were cutting cornered edges, which we're not. So what we've got to do is subtract 10 millimeters from that. We have 148.9, so we're going to go 138.9, and that'll give us what we need. All right, so now we're going to grab a square, and we're just going to draw out a rectangle, drop it. We're going to make it a height, which will be the width due to positioning of 138.9. And then the height, which due to positioning is the width, will be 90, which again is about 3.5 inches. And then we're going to do the same thing to get these tabs on here. We're just going to pull it close, and we're going to use that Alt, and you can see that in this case, you have to use the center line if it'll pop back up. Right there, you have to use that center line, then you can let go because you've got the extra space on the outside. We could have drawn a line on the inside to gauge off of, but adjusting for the curve and it being 4.8, it would have still made these panels too tight to fit. All right, so now we can select the slot, Control D to duplicate, and then use the right arrow to pull one out. And then you can get in close and click with your left key and then hold Alt to make sure you stayed center. Then release both, and then you can grab the top edge and drag it inside. Then you can select both and weld it together. Sorry if I'm talking too much, folks, but being a newbie myself, I have to talk so I can hear myself saying what to do. All right, so now we can just duplicate this a couple of times, and we will have the three panels that we need. Panels? I don't know what a panel is. Panel. We'll have our three panels, and now all we need to do is write coffee bar. And we didn't need that after all, but we had it. Okay, so like I said, we're going to use a font called Arco Typography, and it comes from thefont.com, and it's 100% free. So I will leave a link so you can go out and get that, and you can take a look for, there's literally hundreds of free fonts that you can use. All right, so we're going to go get the text tool and go up top. Now, once you install this, it'll be made available immediately to for you to use on Lightburn. Okay, so this one, this particular font is all caps, but it looks good. Coffee space bar is what we're putting, and then click the selector tool, and then you can just drag this out to fit. And then we're going to drag it up, and we're going to put a cap on the top of it. So just work with it, and you want it to just barely touch the bottom and the two edges. So just work with it until you get it something like that. And then you can grab the top and stretch it up. And then you can grab a square and just drag one out, go across the top, and then probably want to make sure that this is at least 8 or 10 millimeters, maybe 6 or 7 would work fine. And again, we can do that by grabbing the ruler, and we can check on the edge, and that is 6 millimeters, so that's fine. But whatever you like, you do that. So now, just make sure it doesn't exceed the top. And to do that, you can get in close and grab the top edge of this one. Hold Alt, and it'll give you that little blue line or purple line, and you'll know you didn't go past. Now we can select everything and click Weld. And once you weld letters like this, if there's a piece of this that looks weird or you didn't want, then you can select it, like this little piece down here at the bottom, right here. You could select it, ungroup it, click away, and then select that piece you don't want and click the delete. And then go back and group it all back together, because if you move it, you're going to lose the inner portion of some of the letters. So I think we're ready to go to the laser. So give me a minute to set up, and we'll cut this out and see what it looks like. I'll be right back, folks. Okay, folks, we are set up and ready to cut. It's going to take 2 cuts, so I'll just change them out midstream and keep going. Like I said, this is 5mm Luan hardwood plywood. I got it at my local hardware. It's a big box store, but it's local. And I'll leave a link in the description so you can pick some up if you like. It's a really good project wood. I think you'll enjoy using it. Okay, let's send the code on over and get this cut out, see what it looks like. Okay, folks, let me put this together and we'll get a closer look at it. So here's our finished coffee bar tray. I think it turned out really nice, and it's pretty solid, even though we put tabs just on the bottom. I don't think it's going to have any trouble holding up a few cups and some sugar. So I will drop links to the free font as well as the 5mm Luan plywood, so you can go get some of that if you like. And you can make it with the thinner wood, but this is a really nice project wood. I think you'll enjoy using it. So if you try to do this and you have questions, just let me know and I'll get you an answer. If you've got questions about anything I've got posted or any general laser or Lightburn questions, I'm glad to answer those. I really appreciate the questions in the comments. It not only helps me as a newbie, but it helps any of the viewers that come across it, and that's a good thing. So just check back often for new videos, and if this was helpful, please like and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow, and it'll help me to keep doing it. So you folks take care, and we'll see y'all next time. Thank you.